How about them Cowboys?
Angry Cowboys fan, are you down to ride? Angry Cowboys fan, are you down to ride? Drop a like on the video, go ahead and subscribe.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation and Angry Cowboys fans around the world? Y'all know who it is. It's your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan. And I was scrolling on X today. I happened to come across a post from Ferg Season and RJ Ochoa. The post was about Tyron Smith and how he spoke glowingly about Dak Prescott. The post read, "For almost a decade now, anyone who has ever worked with Dak Prescott has spoke with extreme reverence for him. Don't tell the random people on the internet, though." Cowboys Nation, that's real talk. That is extremely accurate. A lot of the players that get traded from the Dallas Cowboys, who have retired from the game of football, or who's still playing at a high level, they respect Dak Prescott. They talk highly of Dak Prescott. Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Troy Aikman, CJ Stroud, Zach Martin, Aaron Rodgers, and now Tyron Smith. I'm sure there's a lot more, but y'all get my point. But the second part of the post was extremely telling. Don't tell the random people on the internet, though. That's saying a lot about this portion of the Cowboys fans that want nothing more than the Dallas Cowboys just to move on from Dak Prescott. But then I stumbled across an episode of Cam Newton's 4th and 1. In this particular segment of the show, him and Peggy welcomed Brian McFadden to the show. They were speaking about the controversy that's around Asante Samuel and Deion Sanders. During that conversation, though, Cam Newton brought up a few things that hit the nail right on the head when it comes to Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. So we're going to take a listen to the 3 clips I got for y'all, and y'all know what we're going to do. We're gonna come back and unpack this raw and uncut. So, Cowboys Nation, let's take a listen to the first clip from Cam Newton's 4th and 1.
But it's a lot of people in that community, bro. When you take yourself outside of a situation and then you start comparing and contrasting and doing this and doing that, that's why I say, bro, I got so much flack about would I give, my MVP for a Super Bowl. In reality, I double down like, no, because even in regular life, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody ain't no team player. Why are we faking that? Like in every position, like you take the fire chief. Somebody want his job. And ain't nobody gonna say, I'm just gonna be just the person that just, do this and let you. Like, no, bro. Like, I'm doing this to advance. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's acting as like, oh, man, let's put the team first. Man, I believe in we're a team. I'm going to do my job, and I'm in hopes that you do your job the best that you can do so we can do our job together.
Yeah. I'm going to do my job to the best of my ability, and I hope that you're going to do your job the same way. I know I'm paraphrasing what Cam Newton had to say, but that's pretty much what he had to say. But it was kind of funny. People asked Cam Newton would he give his MVP award up for a Super Bowl championship, and he said no. Why he said no? Hey, that was the fascinating part to me, Cowboys Nation. He said that everyone isn't a team player, and he's absolutely right. In most recent years, there have been people that have been looking over their shoulder, looking for that next person to take their job. I'm not talking about Dak Prescott, but when your head coach is on the hot seat every single year, it kind of makes it hard to buy into anything that goes on schematically. You know what I'm saying, Cowboys Nation? But jumping into the next clip, Cam Newton continues to speak on this topic. So let's take a listen to what Cam Newton had to say so we can come back and talk about it. Roll a clip.
You can't control sports as a whole, not just football, sports as a whole. We talked about it with Anthony Edwards. Sports as a whole have so many different determining factors. And in that, the greatest players that we've seen, it comes down to also supporting cast that you just may not have the luck of the draw. Yeah. Look at Allen Iverson. Was he not worthy enough to win in the NBA championship?
He was.
He just didn't have.
His team wasn't.
Eric Snow was guarding Derek Fisher. He was not going to be guarding no Kobe Bryant. Who was going to be guarding Shaq? Like, it was just, bruh.
Yeah.
It was too much to handle. I held my end of the bargain down. I'm in hopes that everybody else does. And it's still going to keep coming up like, bro, yeah, that's why you didn't win. It's like, bro, if I can go and ask any individual who's commenting on these things, you want to be the manager, right? So what's wrong with being the best version of yourself? See what I'm saying? And still being a team player. I want team success. But if you're looking at guys who made it to the Hall of Fame, right? Yes, they were Super Bowl winning players, but more times than not, just because you have a Super Bowl doesn't guarantee that you're going to make it into.
Real talk, Cam Newton. You want to go out there and be the best version of yourself. There's some times where you try to go out there and be the best version of yourself, and the best version of the opposing team is better than your team. There's sometimes when you go out there and you want to be the best version of yourself, and it doesn't go according to plan. Yes, Dak Prescott throws some untimely interceptions, Cowboys Nation. He truly does. In the playoffs, Dak Prescott throws those untimely interceptions. But you can't take away from the fact that he is a great quarterback, and statistics will show that he is indeed a great quarterback. But you know, Cowboys Nation, fans who say that Dak Prescott is a bum would have to admit players like Reggie Miller, Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullin, Derrick Rose, and so on are bums in their respective sport. All right, let's switch back to the NFL greats. That's like saying former Atlanta Falcons tight end Tony Gonzalez is a bum because out of his 16-year career, he has 0 playoff wins. That's like saying Tony Romo's a bum because he couldn't get it done. And I like what Cam said because it truly takes more than yourself to do what all the Cowboys Nation wants the team to do. Win a championship. But getting into that third clip, Brian McFadden starts it off by stating the truth about the fan base, and Cam Newton ends it with another truth when it comes to the mentality of the football player. So let's take a listen so we can come back and unpack this raw and uncut.
And I think with your statement, most listeners are sensitive listeners.
Oh, for sure.
And that's why you took a lot of criticism. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel.
Yes.
It shouldn't rub somebody else the wrong way. Because that's your personal feeling.
For sure. But
that's the issue.
I speak, and I chose a side.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be the person that's going to get manipulated and choosing like, oh, man. Because when you think about reality, there's a lot more selfish players, and I don't even think that that's selfish.
No.
That's just how you feel.
Because you have to consider households. You have to consider what's best for you. You dig what I'm saying?
Most listeners are sensitive listeners. I didn't understand that then. I truly understand it now. But y'all ready for this raw and uncut? Y'all ready? Let's get it. Damn, that was pretty intense, Cowboys Nation. If you got out of it what I got out of it, then it should have showed you that it takes a team to win at this sport we call football. What's that old saying? Teamwork makes the dream work. The thing is, some fans are emotionally tied to the end result. And when you're super focused on the end result, you miss the importance of what it takes to get you to where you want to go. I mean, if you're late to a meeting, you don't just hop in the car and then bam, you're at the meeting. There's certain steps that you have to do in order to get out the damn driveway. Even though your mind's on the meeting, you're thinking about routes that you could take that'll cut off time from your trip. You're thinking about what you're going to say to your boss when you get to the meeting. Your mind is working, Cowboys Nation. So tell me this. Why doesn't it work that way when you're rooting for your team? And I mean, I get it. The end result is a championship. The end result is winning the football game, winning the championship. Some fans neglect the way we get there, though. We just got to get there, right, Cowboys Nation? Forget the locker room and that it was fractured last year. Forget all the injuries. Forget that we were completely disappointed at the lack of movement in free agency during the offseason. Yeah, so what if the Dallas Cowboys didn't have a good draft? So what the head coach is on his last leg with one foot out the door? So what we've been saying the owner of the team is cheap and needs to hand the GM duties over to somebody who really gets it. Forget all that. The job is supposed to be done, and if it's not done, then the quarterback of your team gets all the blame. I just don't understand it, Cowboys Nation. But I was thinking, if we had Patrick Mahomes and the same issues with the front office and personnel and stuff, some of our fans would consider Patrick Mahomes a bum. that doesn't deserve the money that he signed for. But at the same time, I see how the Super Bowl wrapped up, but I don't hear Patrick Mahomes as a bum or anything like that. I hear that Patrick Mahomes needs weapons. Patrick Mahomes needs help. Why can't the quarterback for the team that you root for get afforded that same leeway? I just don't get it, Cowboys Nation. But I say that to say this. It takes more than just your quarterback to play ungodly for you to win at this game we call football. It takes more than just your quarterback force-feeding one target on the field because all of your other targets are not on the same level or even close to the same level. It shouldn't take winning in spite of, Cowboys Nation. Yeah, sure, you'll have those once-in-a-blue-moon teams that get it done winning in spite of, but that's the exception, Cowboys Nation. That's not the rule. But some Dallas Cowboys fans consider the exception the norm when it absolutely isn't and gets ultra pissed when their perspective of reality isn't met. We should be winning championships, you know what I'm saying? Who said? Not the ownership, because they haven't fielded a championship team in 30 years. Remember, Cowboys Nation, actions speak louder than words. But what it takes is unity. It takes the men coming together and moving as one unit. It takes this organization coming together and getting the job done. You can't have one part of the machine partially working while expecting the rest of the machine to function properly. I mean, it may for a little bit, but once it gets overworked, it breaks. We witnessed that last year, Cowboys Nation. How many of our players went down to season-ending injuries again? And let's not act as if this is something that just came about. You know, I've heard a number of people blame each playoff loss on one solo human being, and everyone can see that that's not the case. Calling for one person to fall on the sword when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys falling short every single year. Neglecting the fact that any quarterback in this league needs a supporting cast. The Super Bowl champions need an even greater supporting cast. Some will say that Patrick Mahomes didn't need a great supporting cast. Well, if that was the case, Cowboys Nation, he would be the quarterback of the first team to have a first 3-peat in the NFL. That wasn't the case, though. They got beat. And let's not act as if Jalen Hurts was the sole reason for the Philadelphia Eagles winning that Super Bowl. Because if Dak had those same numbers in a loss, some of y'all would be calling him ass. What Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles were able to do was use their team's game plan against the Chiefs. The entire year, the Philadelphia Eagles moved together as a unit. Even when there was a little turmoil in the locker room because the passing game was non-existent for the first half of the season, they switched some things up and continued to move as a unit. The year started off with their front office bringing them some much-needed pieces to their team. The rushing attack that they were able to establish made the Chiefs have to respect the run game, in turn respecting Saquon Barkley. They game planned for him, but they had no answer with the other offensive weapons that the Philadelphia Eagles had. With a plethora of weapons on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, Jalen Hurts was called upon to rise to the occasion, and he did just that. Now switch over to the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of fans know what Dak Prescott can do, the abilities that he has, and we should be adding to those great abilities, right? That's a negative to some Cowboys fans. Why does Dak need an all-Madden team around him? My response to that question is, why not? You don't want to win a championship? So why does it have to be the worst way possible? Why does it have to be with a mediocre team? Why can't some understand that what you have in Dak Prescott and add the players to make the quarterback's job easier? Oh, let me guess. His job shouldn't be easier because he's making $60 million a year, right? Well, the harder everyone makes it for him or any quarterback in this league, the less likely you'll get what you want, and that's a Super Bowl championship. But the moral of all this, it takes a great team to do great things. It takes a great coach to be able to coach these players up and to be able to create a scheme that is super hard to beat. It takes a great front office, scouts, and GMs to bring great talent to an organization and to take those great players to implement them in a great scheme to play some great freaking football. So I hope this front office buys into Brian Schottenheimer's vision by getting him the personnel that he feels will help this franchise succeed. I hope the coaching staff can develop an offensive and defensive scheme that is more moderate and deceptive than it has been in the past. I also hope that the players buy into what Brian Schottenheimer and the crew are cooking up in the kitchen. Most importantly, I hope these players can buy into each other because that's exactly what it's going to take to win at any level. Those players. This has been your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan. Cowboys Nation, what did y'all think about what Cam Newton had to say? What are your thoughts about the video in general? Y'all know how we do it. We always talk about it in the comments section. But if you're digging this content and want to help the Angry Cowboys Fan YouTube channel reach its goal of 10,000 subscribers, drop a like on this video and please consider sharing it with anybody that you know is a Dallas Cowboys fan. It truly helps out. But if you're DC for life and you want the Dallas Cowboys to score big during this year's NFL draft, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to be notified whenever I go live, release a video, podcast episode, film breakdown, draft coverage, or Madden 25 or College Football 25 gameplay. I have said this over 1,000 times, Cowboys Nation, but it takes more than just 9 players to play at their best to get the results that we want. It takes more than your quarterback playing at an all-Madden level. It takes everyone in that building to play at an all-Madden level. Some can continue to live by the delusion that the NFL is a one-on-one sport, but the ones who understand that it takes 53 men moving as a unit, an eventual Super Bowl win is going to taste even sweeter for us when it eventually happens. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan, and I'm out. Dang, Angry Cowboys Fan, you done made it through the entire video. But if you want more content, you can definitely go to this video right here. Or if you want the latest episode of the Angry Cowboys Fan podcast, you can go right here. But whatever you do, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, but remain DC for life.